Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. I'm the brother Michael Allah from Great Millstone Raleigh, coming to you through the spirit and power of Yahweh, being the true name of the Heavenly Father, Bahashim, meaning in the name of Yahweh Shai, being the true name of the Omega Son, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Going to be a quick lesson, those will be edifying. The title of it going to be wisdom is better than riches. All right, wisdom, true wisdom, which is what the fear of Yahweh Hashem Shai, is better than riches. Because ultimately, why? Because wisdom, again, the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai endures forever, and riches does not, simply put. But let me just go ahead and get started. This is Proverbs 16 and verse 16. How much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver? Why? Because, it goes into, the full spectrum of wisdom. Money, as good to say, it is a defense, and it does answer all things, but it's still one-dimensional, and as good to say, pertaining to the wrath that's coming. Riches profit not in a day of wrath. Riches can only get you so far, and again, going to, the riches of this world, it's corrupted, and things that are corrupted can be stolen, but what can be stolen is the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, which is the currency of the soul, man. Gold fills pockets, wisdom fills the soul, man. True wisdom, the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Shai, man. Because why? Because wisdom gives you peace, and again, real wisdom, not the left hand, which is, the left hand wisdom of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Shai. But the knowledge of wickedness, as what it says, is not wisdom, man. Because why? Because, again, let's just grab it, man. Let's grab it. This is the book of Proverbs, 9 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, is the beginning of wisdom. All right, the fear of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is the understanding. So Proverbs 9 and 10, the fear of Yahweh Bahashim Shai is the beginning of wisdom. So that's the entrance of the door of wisdom. True wisdom is the fear, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Okay, the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Again, not the knowledge of the world, not the knowledge of the wickedness, all the, the jargon of the world. It's about fearing Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, understanding his mysteries, the prophecies, the insight of, the wisdom of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, man, the instruction, which all these things, are a gift, man, and only that gift belongs onto the initiated, the fear was created with the faithful in the womb, and you're going to, again, making a point about the fullness of wisdom. That's Sirach 1, if I'm not mistaken. In verse 16, to fear the Lord is the fullness of wisdom, and fulfilleth men with her fruits, the good works of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right. Because if you don't fear the Lord, you're a corrupt tree. You're a corrupt plant, And one way or another, you're going to bring forth, corruption. But you're going again to wisdom, That's ultimately, matter of fact, let's grab this. This is Sirach 19, verse 18. It says, the fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him. So as you've been taught, especially by the modern day Christianity, which is nothing but BS, that you can be accepted as you are, however you feel like, or the attire you feel best suited for you to wear is going to be accepted in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. When the Lord said about the saints being clothed in white, all right, you coming up with shorts and slides on, man, that's not acceptable in the sight of the Lord. Because why? Because it shows a lack of fear. All right, and the clothing we wear is the righteousness of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right. So Sirach 19 verse 18, the fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of him, and wisdom obtaineth his love. Okay, because what is love? Keeping other commandments, keeping other ways of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, again, being accepted. All right, making sure we're wrought in the sight of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, acceptable men. All right, women and children. Going to the elect in this time, man. The Lord's gonna have mercy on them, because they're faithful and they're fearful, And matter of fact, go grab another one. Sirach 25, verse 10. Oh, how great is he that findeth wisdom, right? Yet is there none above him that feareth the Lord. Because you can get wisdom, but wisdom can puff you up. The wisdom of the Lord, if it's not in a worthy vessel, it could do harm, to yourself and those that follow. Because why? Because eventually, your true nature is going to show, and ultimately wisdom is going to flee you because you're not worthy of her, But that's it on that. Let's get back. Let's grab. Let's grab like one more. Probably grab Proverbs 8. So let's grab Proverbs 8. It's Proverbs 8 verse 10. Receive my instruction and not silver. So matter of fact, let me read it. Keep reading. Proverbs 8 and 10. Receive my instruction and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. Right, because again, going to the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, it can't be bought with physical money. You can pay somebody to teach you, but John said, about referring to wisdom, you get things that are spiritual. It comes from above, man. Again, how much more the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Apollos have watered. Roughly paraphrasing, but the Lord gives the increase. Let me see. Let me give you the right precept. I know it's in the book of Acts. Let me grab the right one. This is it's Acts. Not Acts, Corinthians. Yep, 1 Corinthians 3 and 6. I planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase, right? So again, the increase comes from the Lord, right? And again, when you again, you're receiving silver and gold, thinking of it like selling out, being bought and paid for, like a lot of these other Israelite groups are, man, bought and paid for, 50C3'd up, tax exempt, right? Because they rather receive silver and gold than the Lord's instruction, man, which eventually lead to their destruction and dismantlement. So Proverbs 8 and 11, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it, right? Because again, wisdom is everything, all right? It's good to say wisdom strengtheneth a man more than it's a 10 mighty men that are in a city. Why? Because again, wisdom covers all bases, man. And wisdom is how this world was created, and by wisdom is how the next world to come, of Yahweh Shai and his elect and the Israelites, the rest of our nation is going to be ran by wisdom, right? These things are, rubies, you can name, all the stuff that in this world is called precious, again, gold and silver. But again, the Lord's telling you because, wisdom has been tried, the words of Yahweh Shai are pure. There's nothing more pure than the words of Yahweh Shai. That's his pure influence, right? And things that you're coveting after, it was created by his word, man. We're going to the creation story way back in the beginning, with the Alayim on the Yahweh Bahashim Yahshai. But I read again in Proverbs 8 and 11, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it, right? Everything else is an extra, right? It's good to say. Let's grab this. This is going into Yahweh Shai's word. This is Matthew 6 and 33. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added on to you. So priority, getting this wisdom. The kingdom is this knowledge, and the kingdom, of Yahweh Basham Shai is going to be ran by this knowledge, okay? The knowledge of righteousness, which the world we're experiencing now is by the knowledge of wickedness, man. That's why the world's mourning, all right? But when the righteous are on authority, people are going to rejoice, But again, going to seeking the kingdom, right? How are we going to get through the time we're coming into? The MOTB, being the hour of temptation around the corner, WW3, all hell breaking loose, persecution, you name it. Earthquakes, all type of stuff, man, was on the menu, man. How you going to be able to endure those times, man? Money can only go so far, man. How are you going to get into the fellowship? You can't go on Ticket Hub and get a chariot seat, all right? You have to ultimately be chosen, And those who are going to be chosen, they're gonna what? Those wise virgins, man. Matthew's 25th chapter. You can have all this money. You can be, again, so-called important in this world, but in the eyes of Yahweh Shai, if you're regarded as nothing, you're nothing in this life, and in the next life, if you're in this life, you're just going to be a lower rank, but you're going to be insignificant as far as, bigger importance of, next to those who so swiftly and suffer loss, and live with contentment while you try to chase the bag and try to be somebody became nobody, man. But that's it, man. Riches perish, wisdom endures, man. Riches aren't faithful. We just talk about riches having themselves wings. All right, every king that reigns on the throne, he's just getting the gold and silver from the last rule. All right, and then same in this time, man. The wicked is gathering silver, real wealth, and riches, while you get paper money, while everything's eventually going to go digital. But coming into a tokenized economy where you're going to own nothing to be happy, while they got all the real wealth, land, slaves, souls of men, right? All that's going to be transferred to the next rules to come, man. If we're to talk about the kingdom shall be translated, right? Again, it's all going to be transferred, to the worthy rulers who are going to honor wisdom, all right? Read Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. But that's pretty much the point, don't ramble on too much. Wisdom is better than riches, man, all right? And, there's nothing better than the fear of Yahweh Shai, all right? So with that, those was better to find, as well as one of our praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Hakadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles with millstone. Peace and blessings, like a visual. Shalom.